Hi, my name is Elaine, and I'm a trauma nurse from North Carolina. And my group has decided to debate over the HB 789 bill, which is the End of Life Option Act. And basically, this act is to give another option for terminally ill patients, and they can opt in for this act to take medication prescribed by their physician to aid in the dying process. Of course, this act has lots of qualifications for the patients to be eligible for this method, and it's all listed in the bill. Basically, a lot of patients in this patient population are in palliative care or hospice or have cancer. There's lots of pain and suffering. So a lot of patients don't want to continue or just linger around just to wait for their last day. So this option allows them the choice and the control over their own health care. And a lot of these patients have said that at the end of their life, they've lost their autonomy, they've lost just basic bodily functions, and most importantly, they've lost enjoy doing things that once make their lives enjoyable. So this would be a great option for these patients. Of course, there are other people who are against this legislation from data received from other states who have already had a similar act in place, such as Oregon, who has a Death with Dignity Act. Is pretty much the same thing. But they've said that some patients who've taken the medication given to patients for this purpose have regained consciousness after being administered the medication. So that is a huge negative and a really good reason why this legislation might not be the best thing for patients, because our goal is to let them go peacefully and let them have control over their own healthcare. If they regain consciousness, that defeats the whole purpose of this act. So this legislation is currently being referred to the Committee of Rules, Calendar, and Operations of the House as of April 2017. And as far as my stance on this legislation, I am for the HB 789 bill, and I'm in hopes that it keeps moving forward to being debated over at the House. After it gets debated and passed there, it'll move on to the Senate and then to the President. So the first thing is this act in Oregon, it's already been there for 21 years, has set a new goal to provide better palliative care and hospice care for these patients with terminally ill, patients who are terminally ill, and to help them be as comfortable as possible. And I feel that some hospitals had kind of let that unit be themselves and not really focus on that side of life, like the end of care life. But since this act, they have become more involved in end of life care and become more aware of how important end of life care is. And then secondly, these hospitals have drawn more attention to end of life care and gone out to hire experts and specialists who focus their careers on just end of life care. And they've come to train and educate other healthcare providers, being physicians or nurses or nursing assistants, on how to do what's best for the patient and to make them most comfortable. And lastly, one of the perks is finance perks, where if patients opt in for this act, their insurance will cover the afterlife finances, such as funeral costs. And so that takes a huge financial burden off of the family, just knowing that they'll be okay and their family's service will be covered. So while I do hope that this bill gets passed and become part of North Carolina legislation, I hope that there is more research being done about the medication being used to aid the dying process, because I would not want to regain consciousness if I opt in for this act. I believe that they should get as close as to 100% guaranteed that the medication is effective as they can before this bill is passed and ready to be utilized by these patients. I want this bill to be passed because I believe in the potential it could make on terminally ill patients, but I also want it to be as safe as possible. So overall, I am for the HB 789 End of Life Option Act, but I also want more research done on the medication side. Thank you.